why does Rabbi Singer use the example of King David and Bathsheba to show that sacrifices are not necessary? After all, technically, King David did not sin, and no sacrifice was required. If he had truly sinned, he would have needed Jesus as well.
How interesting. All right, so anybody who reads 2 Samuel chapter 10, 11, 12 would know that King David sinned, and God was very angry with him. He sinned horribly, horribly. But they're misunderstanding a technical point. I mean, most people don't even realize how bad, how great the sin was of King David, because they don't read it. They just know the story. They don't actually read it. If you read it, so what he did was outrageous. The only question is did he deserve the death penalty or not? Because he would have committed adultery and murder. The sages are not telling. So the sages use very tight words. Anyone who thinks King David sinned is mistaken. They do not mean that. Okay. But there are many people who really think that's what they meant, and understandably so. So I'm going to add in words to be very clear. Whoever thinks that, technically speaking, King David committed adultery and murder is mistaken. Because in the ancient world, when men went out to fight, to war, there was a chance that their bodies would never be recovered. It's not like today where, look, in any war, there are bodies that we, even in the modern age, don't find, but usually we do. But in the ancient world, it was common that a soldier was killed and just lost, and the body decays, and no one ever finds the body. Well, what happens to the wife at home? She can never marry again. So, soldiers gave their wives a divorce, so that they can go to war, and if they never show up, so then she's free to marry another. So technically that was the state of Bathsheba. That doesn't mean what King David did was right or good. It was horrible. And indeed King David said, Chatosi Lashem, I have sinned before the Lord. When Uriah, it's such a tragic story, but when Uriah didn't listen to King David said to him, go back to your wife, sleep with her. It was terrible, because it would cover up what happened. She's pregnant. Horrible. This poor guy was so loyal. He said, how can I go sleep with my wife when the Jews are fighting in battle? And he refused. Technically speaking, to refuse the order of a king is a moed b'malchus, it's a rebellion against the king. But he did it because so technically, what King David did technically just would not have reached a level where a court could put him to death. You follow? That's all they're saying. What King David did was horrible. Now, what makes King David amazing, because, my dear friends, I could argue and easily persuade you, I don't even think I'd have to work very hard, that what King David did was much worse than what Saul did. It would be very easy to convince any of you that what King David did was much worse than what Saul did. So why with Saul was the royalty removed from him and his family completely? See 1 Samuel 15. It was and with David, he's given a covenant forever. So I think it's hard for us because we intuitively think that God is angry at us depending on how bad our sin is. Like, the worse the crime is, the more angry it is at us. But actually, the difference between David and Saul is something that is not related to the strength of their sin, but rather what they did with their sin. What is meant here in 2 Samuel is that what did David do when he was confronted with the sin, told the parable? He said, I sinned before the Lord. He didn't say anything else. He just admitted it. No explanation. He didn't try to get out of it. He just confessed. Oh, God forgives you. What did Saul did when Samuel confronted him with his sin? Saul made up excuses. I was using the sheep for offerings. He came with excuses. I'm not interested in that. I can't work with you. So as it turns out, this even italicizes the strength and the power of confession. King David confesses his sin. God saw his heart. He knew it was true. It was a real, genuine confession. God forgave him. King David sinned. What the sages only mean is a technicality that because of the circumstances, he technically did not commit a capital crime. Technically, but he committed a horrible sin. If you don't believe me, just read 2 Samuel chapter 7. Just read it. I think I made a mistake earlier when I said the chapters. It's 2 Samuel. Excuse me, I didn't make a mistake. It's 2 Samuel chapter 12. Just read it. You'll be horrified by it. It was terrible. It just technically, our sages tell us that he didn't commit the capital crime. That's what it doesn't mean he didn't sin, even though that's how it sounds. That's not what it means. It means that he did not. His crime, technically, he can get off because he gave his wife a divorce, and Uriah didn't follow his instructions. It means, thank you for your question.